Hey everybody, welcome to the Tom Parsley channel, where just like parsley we go into a little bit of everything. So I'm Tom, and let's see what we could get into today. So we're here at a beach on the south shore of Long Island, New York. We've got the Atlantic Ocean. We've also got some construction going on behind me over here. So you might hear the pile driver going off, so apologize for that. But let's take a beach walk and let's see what we could see here on the beach. So we'll start right over here, taking a look at the dunes. So our dunes here on all these ocean beaches are pretty unique in that we have these grasses. Let's take a close look at this over here. These grasses are called beach grass, dune grass. The Latin name is Ammophila brevilugata. Ooh, that's a mouthful. So what happens is, as the sand kind of fills in, the roots will spread out and hold on to the dune. So that's why these dunes are so very important for the health of our dunes here, because the wind is going to blow all the sand up in here and all the sand's going to get caught. There's that pile driver I was talking about there. And so let's take a walk down to the beach and see what we get into. So right over here is one of my favorite places to take a look at what we can find on a beach. This is called the rack line. Let's turn around here. Right all along here is called the rack line, W-R-A-C-K. So this is where the high tide line would come all the way up and deposit all of this material all up and along the beach. And you could find tons of stuff here. So we've got, big old tree over there. But this, if you're a shell person, this is where you're gonna look for shells, because there's tons of shells all along here, all along the rack line, piled up. Beach glass, all kinds of different shells. Let's take a closer look and see what we can find here. So we've got some of these broken shells here. We've got some scallop shells, broken scallop shells here. And if we pull through here, by the way, this is all eelgrass. This is called Zostera marina. We can find lots of stuff inside the rack line. And if we go down here, get a closer look here. Extreme zoom in. We can see, first of all, if we take a closer look at the sand, we can see what the sand is really made of here. Small little quartz crystals, all broken down by the wave action, by that wave action right out there. And, just take a closer look what we can find. Little scallop shells, lots of scallop shells. Scallops are really cool. Latin name is, I'll put it down on the bottom here if I get it wrong, Argopecten irradians. They have all little blue eyes all along the margin over here, and they swim backwards like this to get away from you. Pretty neat. I'm looking for the purple clamshells that the indigenous people of Long Island and all of the Northeast made into wampum, or beads. See that kind of purplish color there of a clamshell? And that purple color is from different minerals that the mollusk, the clam, will secrete and make that shell there. And then the native people would take these shells, make little beads, and call them wampum. And pretty neat. Then the other little critter that you can find a lot of over here is the slipper shell. And over here, Latin name Crepidula fornicata. Now the interesting thing about the Latin name is, if you look at the shape, it's kind of got that kind of curved little arch shape, and it takes the arch shape is called a fornicated arch, and according to stories, this is where the women of the night, as it were, would take their customers to fornicate. So Crepidula fornicata, or the slipper shell, and they're pretty neat, pretty cool. All right, let's see. And just in this little section here, there's tons of stuff that we can find. So if you look down the beach, that rack line, this is kind of what you're looking for to find your shells, to find your beach glass, to find anything that is going to be washed up on the beach, because as the tide comes up, high tide, it's going to deposit all the material over here. You could tell where the tide line is, and then as the tide goes out, it's going to head back out over there. So let's go a little closer to the water, because it is low tide, and we'll see what we can find a little further down to the beach. Pretty nice day today. It's surf's up a little bit because if I'm not mistaken, there's a tropical storm out there that's causing some waves. Oh, by the way, this is the first official day of fall. So this is September 22nd, right after the autumnal equinox, which is the moon and the sun. The sun's over there. The moon actually today is a waxing crescent. It's about right over there somewhere. So that new moon pulling on the earth with the sun also pulling on the earth is going to give a double high tide, which is called the spring tide, even though the season isn't spring, but it's still called a spring tide. Here, I'll leave you your moment of zen. Okay. So we could see some other like minor rack lines up here, some stones. You can find some big clamshells. I'm trying to point myself here so you don't see my shadow. And let's see. Oh, here's a piece. Here's a piece of a moon snail right over here. A lot of the things you're going to find here right next to the surf is going to be broken because of all the action of the surf going up and down and breaking everything. But again, that's how we get our sand, because of all these materials getting broken down, like all these little stones get broken down. That's quartz, by the way. Quartz is the most common mineral here on our beaches. There it is right there. Down in Cape May, New Jersey, they call these Cape May diamonds, I think. I'll put down in the bottom if I didn't get it right. You know, perfectly polished quartz crystals that almost look like diamonds. Pretty cool. Here's another one of those clamshells, but this one is not purplish like that wampum. Here's a broken scallop shell over here. Lots of scallop shells on the beach here. And I was hoping to find some other. Here's a big clamshell here. This is a piece of a surf clam, really big clamshell. And there's a little bit of that eelgrass that we saw before, but that's, whoops, oh, it just got wet. Water's still warm, that's okay. And let's see what else we can find as we go up a little further along the beach here. Hey, if you see something out there, tell me to stop. You know, seaweeds, seashells, some feathers of some birds, lots of prints of seagulls out here. Let's go to one of those piles again of eelgrass, and let's see what we could find in there. And as we move up the beach, the sand gets a little drier. And this is really neat rack line over here. There's lots of stuff in here you kind of dig through. I have found sand dollars, not here, but I have found sand dollars on these beaches. Mixture of rocks and shells. Crab parts. I did see a crab piece. I think it was over by this log. Let's go over by this log. I think I remember seeing a remains of a crab over there. Might have been a spider crab. Spider crabs, fun fact, are distant relatives to those king crabs, snow crabs that everybody likes to eat. Yeah, there he is. Let me turn around so he's in the sun there, so I'm not in shadow. Here, little remains of a spider crab. These are in the same family as the king crabs, snow crabs, but these are our native little guys here. And a lot of people think they eat the other crabs, or they do something to the other crabs that we're trying to catch, like blue claw crabs or anything, but they don't. They just exist on their own. And you could tell if it was a male or a female. You just look right over here. If it was a triangle, it was a female, but because it's a little pencil shaped, that's this was a male. But pretty cool find over there. Or here's a crab claw of another type of crab we have here. This is the calico crab, or the lady crab. And these pinchers hurt. Man, they pinch you like a parrot would do, like right on your cuticles. Man, do they hurt. And let's see, let's go back up to that pile of eelgrass that we were looking at before. And let's see what's in here. So this is all a mixture of eelgrass, some other seaweeds. Here's a mussel. Middleless, edgeless, I think. Again, if it's not, I'll just put it down in the bottom there. Blue mussel, edible. These are really good, really yummy. This is a little carapace. Whoops. A little, let's grab them back. A little bit of a mole crab. These are good, good bait, and seagulls love to eat them too. They live right down at the intertidal zone right there. Intertidal zone is the definition of what's in between high tide and low tide. And there's another calico crab claw right there. And what else we got? Here's a little clam. I think this would be a soft shell clam. You know, the kind that you eat with you dip in the butter. That's really good. Here's a little guy, a little crab carapace right there. And yeah, just in these piles of eelgrass alone, there's tons and tons of stuff that you can find right on the beach. And little bits, all of these are all little bits and pieces of those mole crabs that we saw before. Here's, oops, I smushed them. Dang it. There's the little front piece of one right there. Here's a little guy here. This is called an oyster drill. This is a little snail that will drill into a oyster shell. Oh, here's an oyster shell right here. Into oysters, and then suck out all the meat inside. And you know, if you ever ate a raw oyster, let's turn around here. If you ever ate a raw oyster, you know it was a brave person who first ate a raw oyster. They can be pretty gross, but they're really good. So if you never had a raw oyster before, good luck. All right, and then sometimes you find these little clamshells with a hole drilled in it. That's from either the oyster drill over here or the moon snail, which we haven't found a whole one just yet. Oh, look at that. Spotted lanternfly. Dead. So, oh, here's another oyster drill over here. Sometimes, you know, you make a little crafty stuff with these shells. You can string them up on a mobile or some string or something, and make a little wind chime or something. Let's see what else we got here as we pan a little to the right here. Oh, here's a moon snail. All right, cool. So sometimes you're going to see the egg casing or the egg collar of the moon snail, and you know, a lot of people say, well, what the heck is that? Well, that's the eggs of this moon snail here, and it's called a moon snail because it kind of looks like the moon, right? A little bit. Now, for you Greg Brady fans and Hawaiian puka shells necklace and Matthew McConaughey fans, this tip right here, it's a different shell, totally different shell, but it's similar, is that this part right here is what is made into the puka shell necklaces. So there's a moon snail. Cool. And here's another scallop shell. This one's almost intact. Neat. And you know, you could stay out here for hours and hours and hours and see what's out here. Oh, here's something. So take a look at the sand. Let's see if we can zoom in and see if you see the colors here. Whoops. See any purple? Yeah, you should see some purple. So a lot of beaches, you'll see a whole patch of purple sand. And that's because that purple sand is garnet, is the mineral garnet. And it's a lot heavier and denser than the quartz sand. That's very common. Focus, there we go. So you might see some purple sand there. It's much denser than the quartz sand. And that's gonna stay behind as the wind blows the quartz sand away. It's gonna leave the garnet sand below. And the mineral garnet, fun fact, is New York State mineral. Garnet is used in abrasives, sandpaper, because it's pretty hard. It can rub away a lot of other material. So yeah, so there's the beach. So get out there, get out and see some of the beach. You know, take a look at the ocean, get out here, do some fun stuff, get out and see stuff. And I invite you to like, comment, and subscribe. And I'll see you on the next video. Take it easy. Bye.